back. A memorial service for Khayalethu Magadla will be held in Soweto today. He fell into an open manhole last month. His body was recovered 3 weeks after he had disappeared. It was found in the Klipspruit water waste treatment plant. eNCA's Linda joins us from Soweto. Good morning again, Linda. Have you perhaps caught sight of any family members or even political party leaders as well as NGOs?
Well, right now we are waiting for family members to come. They are the last people that we are expecting will be here before the program of the memorial service of Khayalethu Magadla begins. But I can tell you that in the meantime, the community members have already arrived, as you see on this particular site. We are all waiting for, in fact, for the family of Khayalethu Magadla to actually make their way to this particular Dlamini Eco Park. And this is exactly what will be taking place here. I am seeing as well some of the EMS people that are here. They were part of the search and they are just here to see this particular mission that they were under to finality. But we'll just try to move as well to give you a sense of who the dignitaries are right now. What you are seeing, of course, are some of the dignitaries. The one on your screen now is Mr. Harris, who is the acting mayor in the city of Johannesburg. And we're maybe just going to touch base with him, get a sense really of what, the city of Johannesburg will be doing for the family now that they've found, in fact, the 6-year-old Khayalethu Magadla. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. I'm sorry that I did not announce that I'll be approaching you, but thank you so much, Mr. Harrison. You are the acting mayor for the city of Johannesburg right now. Just give us a sense, really. You did promise the family that you would be back. You did promise the family that you will find the body, but right now it is a matter of trying to help them during this difficult time. You are here today. Give us a sense of how you've been able to help the family.
Well, firstly, I think I have to convey my sincerest condolences to the family on behalf of the mayor and also on behalf of MMC's son. They would have loved to have been here. We have committed to finding the body, and that is what the officials have done, and we commend them for that. The challenge comes when the expectation is that the city of Johannesburg should now be funding the entire burial and what is taking place here. We have a policy for indigent burials within the city of Johannesburg, and within that policy we could have found a way to provide extra support. But unfortunately the burial will be taking place in the Eastern Cape, and the policy demands that everything happens within the city of Johannesburg. One suggestion was that we take the indigent burial policy and convert that into cash and give it to the family. We cannot do that according to the Municipal Finance Management Act and the social development policies. So we couldn't do that. We have done what we have promised, I think. We've also assisted as far as possible with counseling, with food parcels or grocery hampers, vegetable hampers. But I believe that there have been donations coming in. And let me just put to bed one myth here, that there is no slush fund where we can go and access monies to contribute to situations. As sad as it is, our hands are tied by policies and procedures, and if we're going to go beyond the policy and procedure, we're opening up ourselves to negative findings from the Auditor General, and we don't want to do that.
That's one part cleared up, but also there is the issue of saying that the 1.4 million manholes are still a problem in the city of Johannesburg, and many people are looking for answers. The city of Johannesburg Mayor Popalatse did say that the investigation would be initiated to understand exactly what happened, because the community claims they've been reporting these particular manholes as a danger to the kids that play in this park. How far is this investigation? How far are we closer to getting answers as to whether this was true and what really happened in terms of the lapse here of the processes of trying to replace these manholes?
I think what we can say honestly is that as a community we have to take some kind of a responsibility, because with that manhole, it didn't walk away there. Somebody took it. Somebody went to go and sell it to a scrapyard. Children were playing here, and it is reported that that manhole cover was reported as missing, but there's no reference number indicating that it was indeed reported. But I think it's senseless at this point in time trying to find excuses and put blame on anybody. We have to allow the processes to happen, and I think the sad part is that little Kaya had to give his life for the city to catch a wake-up in terms of realizing that we've got a responsibility to citizens to see that, for one, our parks are safe. Secondly, we have to see that within the city we are not working in silos, because our Parks Department will say it's Joburg Water. Joburg Water will say, well, JMPD should have looked after the manhole. So it's a whole passing of the buck. I think it's very, very early in the process now, but we certainly are going to be working, and I can give you the assurance that this mayoral committee is not going to sit back and allow Joburg Water and entities like that to get away with what has been happening for the past 16 years. I believe these manholes have not been serviced for 16 years. You know, who's responsible? I mean, we are a multi-party coalition right now. We've been in office for 7 months. I don't think we can, in the next 7 weeks, try and rectify what has been done for the past 16 years or for the past 28 years. So this is not the time to politicize it, but I think there are processes in place, and we should allow Joburg Water to present that plan to us. And believe you me, knowing the mayor and MMC's son, those plans will be tabled and they will be acted upon as swiftly as possible.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for just giving us a sense of what is happening. And as the drums grow ever so loudly, I can tell you that signals that the family is approaching. But before we give you some of those visuals, I just want to catch up with one of the people really that was at the helm of this city. Right now seems a bit deteriorating in terms of some of the services that should be basic to the people of Johannesburg. I'll start here in Tate Mashaba. There was, of course, a project that you started 2017 that was looking into replacing these manholes, those that had been stolen. But just give us a sense of having to be here, having to witness the life of a 6-year-old being snatched by the very same manholes that you had tried to close up. Just give us a sense of really who actually should be looked at to in terms of this.
You know, unfortunately, the situation in our city of Johannesburg, fortunate enough, as you've indicated, I've got an experience. One of the first things I did when I took over as a mayor, with experience from campaigning, realized this city has got massive barriers, the infrastructure backlog. Did an exercise within a few months, and I remember inviting you, the media, giving you a sense of the backlog. 170 billion rands at the time. Manholes, this whole Nyaupe, the kids and youth who are using this, actually destroying the infrastructure. But what makes it worse was the breakdown of the rule of law in our country. We are letting our infrastructure being destroyed. As the city, we arrest because we are limited in terms of our law enforcement. Metro Police, our role is the public safety. You arrest the person. 2 days later, the very same person is out there in the streets. There are no real consequences for people to understand that when you have laws in a country, please let's really respect them. And look at what we ended up with, a 6-year-old boy, a young man losing his life. I mean, very difficult for the family, but I'm really glad that eventually we fought. I know personally I fought. I was here with the family last week when everyone was giving up. I said to the family, we are not giving up. I called MMC Tembe from the family's the house. When I left, I went to his office. I said, MMC, please, you are not going to give up. Put more resources. You've got to find this boy. One thing for sure is that we've satisfied ourselves that this boy went into that manhole. So there's no doubt about that. And I'm glad 2 days later that the boy was found. There's closure for the family. Not the best outcome that anyone would have would expect, but at least you've got exposure. Now I believe the city must now take the responsibility, and I really ask the city to engage the family as the way forward, so that our governments, politicians, administrators must obviously really face the consequences of negligence. Because when you have accidents like this, do you call this an accident? It's an accident bound to happen. When you have manholes all over, I can tell you, you go to that electricity pylon. I can take you there now. You look at how it's been vandalized. One of these days it's going to really collapse. So when I was here, the 2 days after this boy went into this manhole, I was obviously doing the inspection. I took a picture, put it on social media, showing that pylon. That pylon will cause a major damage, serious consequences for kids. You can imagine if it collapses when people are playing here. You can imagine the electricity that's running through here. So as a country, as a nation, let us all take the responsibility. But government must actually take the leadership in leading society in a manner that is acceptable, and also for society to really know that there are consequences for breaking the laws of our country.
All right, Mr. Mashaba, we'll have to leave it there for now, not for the lack of points to engage with, but we are seeing that the procession here of the family coming to the memorial services arrived. So while we head back to the studio, we'll continue to engage a bit later on. Thank you so much, Action SA leader, Mr. Herman Mashaba. But as we speak here, you are seeing the procession here of the family coming to this particular memorial service site. It is at the very same park that Khayalethu Magadla had fell into a manhole, and right now the family is just arriving. You see in front there, Mfundo, is what we've been talking about. There are always these constant reminders to tell us that this was a life snatched too early, a 6-year-old who fell into a manhole, and you are seeing just in front of that procession, it is some of their peers, some of those that had been in school with the young Khayalethu Magadla. Of course, they are leading a procession that will then follow with some of the 3 cars that are bringing the family of Khayalethu Magadla, who will now come to this memorial service and remember him and share messages. One of the things in the program is in fact the message from the mother, a tribute from the father, as well as the community and civil society in terms of who Khayalethu was, what has been lost today. So those are some of the things we're expecting a bit later on.
What a tragic incident. Honestly, very heartbreaking scenes there of those little children. We'll leave it there for now, Linda Guhle, and catch up with you a bit later on. That's our reporter, Linda Guhle Kulu, out in Soweto for that memorial service of Khayalethu Magadla. To this